Hello everyone, this is Gene from NYC again, and I'm back with another video. Today it's going to be a comic review. It's going to be a comic review of Captain Marvel, issue 4. There's been 5 issues. I have read 4 of them. This will be my second review. This issue is a request, actually, that was given to me back in February by Jim Turner. I unfortunately, due to real life, have been a bit lax in my comic reviews, and this is about a good month or so late. So my apologies to Jim for delaying on the video. And so I hope that you'll enjoy it. This comic, I'm just going to start right out, is not good. In fact, at the end of this video, you will have a pretty good idea of just how bad this is. So bad that I actually have to debut a new rating. I have to debut a new rating, which again you'll find out at the end of the video. So let's get started with the review. So if you're interested, the legacy numbering, which will give you the number of total issues that exist for this title, is 138, which I believe would also count the original Captain Marvel issues back when Captain Marvel was a man and was Kree and was known as Marvel. I don't think it's just this current series of issues with Carol Danvers as Captain Marvel, which, believe it or not, has been going on for, things started about 2011, 2012, so almost 7-8 years. And yet, this particular version of Carol is not well liked, and for good reason. So anyway, this cover is by Amanda Conner, who's been doing the covers for all of the Captain Marvel issues in this particular run. And as much as I like Amanda Conner and her art, this has not been her best work. Her best issue cover-wise was actually issue 3, the previous issue. But this cover and the covers overall have not been good, mainly because she's relying too much on her Power Girl design. Okay, she's best known, if you're familiar with comics, you know that Amanda Conner is best known as being the cover artist for Power Girl. For example, let me pull up this picture here. Right, Amanda Conner, and this is Power Girl. And as much as I love Power Girl, this is exactly the problem. Amanda just keeps using the Power Girl design and look without regard for who she's actually supposed to be drawing. Let me show you. All right, we have so this is Power Girl, right? So let me just put the face here, right? So look at this, right? Carol Danvers, right? This is Carol, Power Girl. Carol Danvers, Power Girl. It's the exact same damned face. If you didn't know who this was supposed to be, you would believe that it's simply Power Girl in a different costume. Same thing for Rogue, right? This is supposed to be Rogue, right? Look at that face. Now look at Power Girl. Look at that face. Now look at Power Girl. With the exception of a different expression and different hair, it's the same damned person. And as I said in my first review, in my review of issue 1, that this is Amanda's problem. She keeps relying on her best known design, even though it does not apply here. This is a Marvel comic, not a DC comic. You're drawing Carol Danvers and Rogue, not Power Girl. Now, this cover is also an homage to a cover from the 1990s. Which for comics fans is pretty famous. So I'm going to put this cover and the original cover side by side, and you can decide for yourselves, and if you want to, you can leave in the comments which cover you think is better, which one is the better art, which one has more emotion. Just so you know, this cover is by Amanda Conner and I believe Paul Mounts, and it says here after Lee and Williams, Lee being Jim Lee and Scott Williams. So, right, this is the Captain Marvel one, right? The one and only Captain Marvel. You see them grappling in the sky. This is the original one, right now. Sorry, this is the new one. I take that back. This is the new one, right? This is the original. This is the original from the 1990s, right? Here's Rogue getting choked out by then Miss Marvel, who in this case is zombified. But I'm just going to record it, and you can decide for yourself which one actually has the better art, the different faces, different expressions, different emotions. So you decide. I do wish that they actually put a little head here, since they have Magneto's mask. They could have probably put like a chibi version of Nuclear Man's face here, and have the guess who wins here too. Just be Machismo, or Nuclear Man as he's known in this, instead of Magneto. But minor point. In my humble opinion, this cover is a pale imitation of the original. But y'all can tell me what you think about it. So that's my criticism of the cover. Let's get to the story itself. So after a summary page where again they don't show respect to Carol's rank and still refer to her as an Air Force pilot, the story starts off proper in Nuclear Man's Citadel, where Carol is being choked out by Rogue. It will be explained later on in the story why Rogue is able to absorb Carol's powers even though her hands are covered. She's wearing gloves as she's choking Carol out. I will give Carmen Canero credit for the art. The art's good. The art is expressive. She makes several mistakes, which I'll point out, but aesthetically speaking, it's very nice, very expressive. The colors are done by, I believe, Tamara Bonvillain, and while I don't like Tamara due to her behavior on Twitter, she's a good colorist. I'll give her credit where credit is due. So we have Rogue here choking out Carol, right? I personally wish that even if, she's somehow absorbing Carol's powers, even without the use of skin-to-skin contact, that it was showing her hands instead of having her hands covered in gloves. Because this is a very primal, visceral act. She's literally choking the life. She's both choking the life and stealing the life out of Carol at this moment. So why not, again, just show her hands around her throat? It's a very primal thing to choke someone. So show her hands. Don't hide her hands. So anyway, this is several panels, which is just a very brief overview of their history of Rogue almost killing Carol. And I will not give Kelly Thompson a lot of credit for this, but I will give her credit here, where she writes that the first time we met, I know it's kind of hard to see here, she almost killed me, and then it says she was just a kid, a villainous, out of control kid. I both like this panel here, or rather this little thought bubble, and hate it because, again, she's at least being honest. Kelly Thompson's being honest. Rogue almost killed Carol, right? She dumped her, as you can see, into the San Francisco River. Here's my problem with it, though. Where she has Carol, again, the victim of this horrendous crime, reason that Rogue was just a kid, just a villainous, out-of-control kid. No, she wasn't. She was young. She was misguided. She was under Mystique's influence and control. But she was not a kid. In my opinion, and this happened several times in the issue, trying to sort of absolve, maybe not absolve, but reduce the severity of what Rogue did, and trying to just explain it away by saying she was a kid, she didn't understand. No. That to me actually weakens Rogue, because now it's saying that she doesn't have, or at least at the time didn't have, agency, right? One of the best, in my opinion, storylines in the X-Men was Rogue's redemption, and that was possible because she finally took responsibility for something that she did. She did not just say, "Oh, it's not my fault because I was under Mystique's influence. I was just doing what Mama said." No, She took responsibility. She ran away. She went to the X Mansion, even though they hated her. I mean, three of the X-Men, Storm, Nightcrawler, and Colossus were gonna walk when she got there. Xavier had to pull rank and give them a moral lecture to convince them to A, stay, and to B, give Rogue a chance. So Rogue took a big step, and that's what helped her. How do I put it? Owning what she did is what helped her turn around and become the hero that we all know. So to take that away from her by saying she was just a kid, to me, that's insulting, quite frankly. Just my opinion. So then again, it just sums it up. And then we have this here. Again, I want to just reiterate. Rogue is both physically choking the life out of Carol, and as you see here with the slightly green tint, draining Carol's strength and powers. And yet, this is what Kelly Thompson writes as Carol's thoughts, again, as she's being choked out by the person who attempted to kill her years ago. If I'm honest, I still don't like looking at her stupid, pretty face. But she's been a hero for a long time now. She's not just a hero, she's a great one. Because it makes sense for the woman who, again, was Rogue's victim to have these type of thoughts. That makes sense. The victim of a crime is going to wax poetic in their own minds about the person's stupid pretty face as said attempted killer is trying to kill them again. Sure, Kelly. That makes sense. That's how a rational human mind thinks when the air is leaving it because the person's being choked out because their attempted killer is trying to kill them again. So anyway, Carol, again, who's being choked out and drained, somehow finds enough power to flame on and escape, which makes no sense to me. I don't understand why she couldn't just, break the hold, use a judo move, a leg toss, something to get out of it. Right, again, to reiterate the fact that she's losing her powers. I mean, you have this panel here, you have this panel up here, the opening panel of the story proper. This one down here indicating that she's being choked and her powers being drained, yet she breaks out of it by hulking up. Thank you, Kelly Thompson. Thank you for making absolutely no sense. So anyway, Carol notes that even after she blasts Rogue away from her, that her powers are still being drained. So then after that, Nuclear Man makes an appearance, and there's a lot of talky talk here that is not necessary. He explains that the reason Carol feels weak is because, let me see here, is that Rogue has leveled up, and now she doesn't even have to touch a person's skin to absorb them. This, again, makes absolutely no sense if you understand anything about Rogue's powers, but hey, who cares about sense anymore? Kelly Thompson certainly doesn't. So he says that the one caveat is that Rogue has to be conscious to use her abilities, which now can absorb a person's powers even without her touching them. Right, then he says that basically what he wants is for Carol to rest, and then Rogue and her are going to fight to the death in his arena, and whichever one of them survives can be his bride. Ain't that nice? Right, and so of course, here's his ultimate goal apparently. He wants to have children with Carol. Why, I don't know, but he wants kids with her. I don't get it. So then the next page, I see a lot of dead space and I want it painted black. No viewpoints anymore, I want them to turn black. I really hate it when they do stuff like this, jokes aside, when they just color in space because they don't want to draw. I mean, like, you could literally draw another person, a rock, anything else here. But no, it's just hazmat standing, and given the viewpoint, we just get to look at the side of her body. I mean, isn't this just the most wonderful view? You can't see her face or any details or anything, just her standing here. And we just look at her sideways via profile. How nice. So anyway, what is it? Sam, the guy who's absolutely useless, the one-man part of the resistance squad, and outside of him being Nuclear Man's son, the boy is absolutely useless. And then we have, what's her name? Spider-Woman? Jessica Drew here. So, they meet in the war room, and they ask for a status report. For some reason, I don't know why, She-Hulk is the one who ends up basically playing leader here, which makes no sense to me because, one, she's depowered. It happened in issue 3 when she got into this post-apocalyptic version of Roosevelt Island. She lost her powers almost immediately. And She-Hulk, practically speaking, if Jen Walters can't turn to She-Hulk, then she cannot participate in the battle. Right, she becomes a liability because now she's just a regular person. She has no superpowers if she doesn't have the Hulk form. So again, why in the world she's taking point when she can't turn into the Hulk and should not be on the battlefield? And more importantly, Carol and her at best know each other casually. One would think that Jessica Drew, being that Jessica is Carol's best friend, and Jessica is the one who literally fished Carol out the San Francisco River and took her to the hospital because Carol was about to drown. You would think that it would be Jessica with that history with her who would lead the charge, but no, it's She-Hulk, who doesn't look a damn thing like She-Hulk because she's in human form, which means that she's just Jen Walters, attorney at law. A scrappy attorney at law, but just an attorney at law. So anyway, they talky, what's her face? Jessica Drew, Spider-Woman, treats Sam's foot. I don't know how he hurt his foot. I don't much care how he hurt his foot. So Sam states that he doesn't know what his father's plan is, except that he heard one word, rogue. Now again, I want to emphasize something. Jessica Drew knows who Rogue is. She knows what Rogue and Carol's history is. Now, what type of panel do you think should be a reaction panel for her hearing that Rogue is back? Do you think it should be a, shocked, a single panel, showing her face in close-up with a shocked expression, right, and strong words like, what do you mean Rogue is back? Do you think that's the type of panel she should get, one where her face is very expressive? Or do you think she should get this, where her face is in profile and we can't see the expression on said face, where it's her and Sam just talking? I mean, this is just such a lively, expressive panel, isn't it? Just so lively. So anyway, the Jen and, what's her face? Jen and Jessica talk some more. And it's still more talky here. And apparently Jen is suicidal because she says here that she wants them to be ready at dawn for an assault and that she's going to lead the first wave in a frontal assault. Again, she cannot turn into She-Hulk at this time, so how the hell is she going to lead a frontal assault? This makes no sense. If anything, Jen should be staying back and basically playing Oracle. And by that, what I mean is being mission control. She can give advice, she can, help them plan and strategize, that's all fine, but she should not be heading out into the battlefield. This is insane. This is suicidal. Thank you, Kelly Thompson, for taking one of the most prominent characters who represented female empowerment and making her suicidal without realizing it. So anyway, now we go, I gotta switch a little bit. Now we go here, Carol and Rogue are fighting in Nuclear Man's arena. right? So Carol's thinking that she can't barely stand. She's trying to stall Rogue. They fight a little bit. Rogue hits her with an uppercut. Carol crashes into the electrified fence, I guess, over there. So Carol says that she could just get her hands on the collar. Just one problem. There's not one panel in this fight that shows her even attempting to get at the collar. She's by this point figured out that the collar is what's got Rogue under mind control. But she never once attempts to actually destroy the collar during this fight scene. This will actually be important later, so keep that in mind. So they're fighting and they're fighting. And she notes that Rogue is too strong, especially as she eats up her power. And then Rogue, for a moment, of course, the print cut off, but down here, Rogue is in tears. She's like, Carol, kill me. Just one problem. Carol, again, has no brain, so we never actually see her try to defeat Rogue, or try to avoid her, or try to take the collar off. So anyway, we get more fighting, where again, she makes no attempt at that collar, right? Because her hand is down here. That's not where the collar is, and no, she didn't miss. It's not like she was trying to grab the collar and miss. No. She wasn't even aiming for it. So they fight, and then here, in what's incredibly odd in my personal opinion, we have Nuclear Man wax poetic and say that, have I truly found my equal? Do I feel love? Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this a love that I've been searching for? Okay, Whitesnake jokes aside, this bubble, in my opinion, is absolutely stupid. And I'll tell you why. Number one, Nuclear Man at this point has not been portrayed as anybody who has complex emotions. He's been an unsympathetic character. Storyline-wise, love makes a character relatable because it makes them vulnerable. It gives them something or someone they could lose. For the reader, it humanizes them. It softens them in a way that makes them appealing and likable. Do you really want me to like this guy? Do you really want me, Kelly Thompson, to feel bad for him or to sympathize with him in any way? For the past 3 issues, you've painted him as a cold-hearted misogynist who has no respect for women, and just a few panels earlier you had him, or rather a few pages I should say, earlier you had him saying that he wants to breed with Carol. That's his plan. He wants Carol to prove herself so that they can breed and make strong children. So do you really want me to believe that he's somehow fallen in love? Do you really want me to feel sympathetic toward a character you haven't tried to make sympathetic at all until this point? Yeah, now had this him being lusty toward her, right? This would have been fine, because it would have again reinforced the fact that he doesn't care about her personally. But when you have him asking himself, especially out loud, that if he's falling in love, again, you're making him way too sympathetic for the type of character you've built him up to be at this point, Kelly Thompson. Do you read anything about writing, Kelly Thompson? So anyway, they keep brawling, and again, Carol never once actually goes for that damn collar. And eventually, Carol comes to the decision that, as she says here, talking to Rogue, you have to let go. You've absorbed so much of me now. I'll let you take almost everything, but then you have to let go. You have to let me take over after you've absorbed me. So it's Carol who comes up with this bright idea to trust Rogue enough to let her absorb her powers again. Again, this is the woman who tried to kill her not too long ago, right? Attempted murderer, right? Attempted killer, victim, attempted killer, victim. Victim is going to put enough trust in attempted killer to let them basically attempt to kill them again and hope that, oh, this time they don't go through with it. Look, I know that Rogue has changed. I'm not denying that. I like Rogue. But I'm looking at this from a storyline perspective. Carol does not like Rogue. Carol tries to make peace with it as much as she can, but how do you make peace with the fact that someone tried to kill you? They're never going to be buddy-buddy. Carol should never have this much trust toward Rogue, to trust enough that, again, Rogue won't murder her. Plus, they already did this years ago, again, back in the 1990s. This very issue is about how Carol, who at this point is just a vengeful spirit living in Rogue's head, how Carol basically tried to take over Rogue's body. So they've already done this whole, Carol Danvers possessing Rogue thing, and it was done much better. It was done much better back in the day. Again, it's just lifting an idea from the past and not understanding how or why it worked. So anyway, Rogue agrees. Carol, of course, has the, life flashing before her eyes moment. And she thinks that it's a mistake and that it was terrifying just as the first time. Okay. I do like this panel because doubt is expected. Doubt is expected. And then she doesn't know if she can do this. So I will give Kelly Thompson credit here for actually having her kind of freak out as it's actually happening. And the panel with the life moments flashing by, I like that. So I'll give it that. So then, and I have to admit, this is a very good panel. The close-ups in this book are very good. Again, Carmen Canero and Tamara Bonvillain, their close-ups are very good. I will give them that much. The art is about the only thing decent in this book. It's because of panels like this. Unfortunately, the writing ruins everything. So anyway, we have, I guess you could call it Rogue Carol. As you can see, Carol's blonde hair and Rogue's the white, white in her hair. And of course, the blue eyes, which of course symbolizes Carol. So Carol's in control at the moment. And here's her physical body here on the ground. So now we get back to the fight. Again, She-Hulk, who's not in She-Hulk form, is somehow leading a frontal assault. As you can see here. Here we go! And she attacks these metal men, robot things. Right? She attacks one with a Hulk exoskeleton. It's never explained in this issue how in the world she came across a Hulk exoskeleton. More importantly, why doesn't this Hulk exoskeleton come with a helmet? Okay, she can't turn into the Hulk. She's a regular person. You have smoke and fire and laser beams. She's in danger. Okay? You're in danger, girl. Get the hell off the battlefield. This is not your place. You're in danger. Leave. Leave now. Leave. So anyway, now that Carol's in possession of Rogue, I'm guessing that's what allows her to turn off her auto-absorption abilities, because Nuclear Man can touch her just fine. So he says that the better woman won, and that Rogue's taking on Carol's appearance and whatnot. Then, finally, break the stupid collar. All of that BS to break the stupid collar. Now, I could have understood this a little bit more had, back in those fight panels, if we'd actually seen Carol try to destroy the collar, or perhaps even grab the collar and try to break it, and then, realize, oh, wait a second. I don't have the strength to break this collar. Had we actually seen her attempt to destroy it and then not being able to because she's too weak, it would have given a slight, at least in my opinion, a slightly more reasonable and understandable excuse for her to allow Rogue to steal her powers. But we never got that. We never got Carol trying to actually destroy this thing. So having her destroy it now, at least in my personal opinion, given the lack of setup, seems kind of stupid. Then again, Carol decides to turn her powers on I swear, this reminds me, this thing with, Carol reminds me of another female superhero, this lady. For the life of me, I forget her name. It's got something to do with the Firebird or something, right? Jean, something or other, right? She was the lead character in the X-Men, Marvel Girl, right? I mean, I don't understand why they're trying to turn Carol into Marvel Girl when Carol's not Marvel Girl. But yeah, whatever. I mean, I just think that Marvel Girl did it better. Yeah, gotta say Marvel Girl did it better. I am Phoenix! Yeah. See what I mean? So anyway, Carol's again got her powers flaring. And then we have her cheerleaders here. She-Hulk, who's not in She-Hulk form. What's her name? Echo. I don't know how in the world. First of all, Carol's literally blinding the woman with her light. Like, Echo doesn't have enough problems being that she's deaf. And plus, I mean, there are several panels in the book where no one talks to Echo. or rather, what I should say is that Echo can only communicate because she's deaf. She can only communicate via reading someone's lips or sign language, which means that the person she's talking to needs to be facing her, right? So how in the world she, communicates doesn't make any sense to me when there are several panels in this issue that show that whoever is addressing her is not looking at her. So how in the world Echo knows what they're saying when she can't hear is beyond me. Anyway, then we have Jessica Drew, who for some reason again is in profile. For some reason they don't want to show her face. And then we have Hazmat here, right? They all bask in the lovely, lovely light. I swear, y'all. I swear, we are just gonna burn in Carol's light. We are just gonna burn in the ever so holy light that is Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers. Randy has spoken. Randy was a prophet. He told us before we ever knew it. Sorry, 1 second. Where's the last page? One moment. Okay, and then after that, she starts beating up Nuclear Man again. We get a little chest stomp here. And then he gloats that he always knew. Silly girl, did you think I wouldn't see through your earnest but fruitless planning? Did you think I didn't have a plan of my own? You haven't even found my bomb yet. And then Carol realizes that it's a trap. It's a trap, and they walked right into it. I agree. It's indeed a trap. The art in this book is a trap. The trap is that this series is awful. This issue, at least from